Hello, founders. Welcome to Startups.com. We are live. Have a very cool show for you planned today, in that we are going off the beaten path and we are going to do a little bit of an improvisation. My guest could not make it today, so I said, you know what, everybody else, take the day off. I'm going to do some Q&A. I'm going to ramble on. I'm going to go through some pitch decks, going to answer some questions. For those of you who will be watching this, or you might be joining us in the audience eventually, type in the problem or task that you're working on. We are going to cover questions. I want to prioritize everything that everybody is asking. You can take over the show with your topic, your questions, and I will answer them. We can have a discussion. That is a great thing to do. If you're watching this on the socials, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know if you got any questions that you would like us to talk about. More than happy to do so. We've got so much that we can cover, and it's always great to get directions from founders in what's going on. Let's begin with a few questions. I'm going to jump into some pitch decks and create some really good clips for our channels out there right now. Let's talk first about business plans. The question is, should founders write business plans? And if so, how should they write business plans? What are the techniques? The short answer is, do not write a business plan at all. Don't worry about writing a business plan. Business plans, when it comes to the world of startups, are completely antiquated. The only reason anybody would ever ask you to write a business plan is if you were seeking investment and there was some compliance requirement to do the business plan. For example, I was putting out money. I was allocating capital, had access to capital to invest on behalf of certain types of investors. But those investors were attached to a bank, and that's where the money came from, or the banking system. Therefore, the investors and the investment committee wanted all the things tied up in terms of due diligence that would make a banker happy. So if you go and you apply for a small business loan and you go to the SBC, you go to a bank and you need to apply, they're going to want a business plan. If you go to a government program, and that's what they're used to, and they've got some compliance on their end, they're going to want a business plan. Therefore, write a business plan to make it happy. And truth be told, I have qualified founders for large credit lines and loans and these investment type programs, and I've pretty much just written the business plan via ChatGPT. I've said, write me this business plan. We've expanded onto it, and we have gone our merry way and secured the funding. Even investors that want business plans, typically they're not sophisticated investors. And that's the reason they're asking for the business plan. They have no idea how to evaluate your startup. And if you've got a regular investor or professional investor, they're not going to care. Why? Because business plans go obsolete literally in weeks. Business plans are all about, do you know your business enough? And it just was the old-fashioned way of doing it, and maybe it still works in some circles. But if someone sends me a business plan, I say, I'm not interested in reading a business plan. I need a pitch deck. I need to see an MVP. I need to see that you can pass an interview and talk. I need to see you can execute, not sit around a desk and plan. Why? I'm going to keep adding. Because all business plans look successful when you write them, and that's just not reality. It's the same reason that all financial plans, all spreadsheets look successful. Every business on a spreadsheet, on an Excel book, looks successful, is profitable, has low customer acquisition costs, is doing absolutely fantastic. Their growth is up and to the right. Every business plan is saying this is how we're going to be successful. And that's just not reality. I'm not going to pay attention to that, nor the investors I'm going to talk to, and nor would I ever take a founder and say, I'm going to introduce this founder to an investor with the business plan. It's just not going to happen. So that is your question. I appreciate you asking, but there's not even any point to talk about how to do best business plans. Let's just say this one thing. If you need to learn business, business plans are a great way to learn business. So write a business plan for your own edification and to learn how to be an entrepreneur. But other than that, no point in writing a business plan unless an investor requires it or some program you're looking for funding. Appreciate that question. Let's look at these other questions. Would you suggest founders send a tech deck and a projection cost Excel alongside the pitch deck to investors? And would it be wise, and why, and what slides in a pitch deck? Compound question. Would you send your technical deck and projection? We need to talk about the few tools that we've got here. If you've got a pitch deck, you're going to have a master deck, and then you're going to have the different types of decks for different investors. So you've got your screener introductory deck. You might have your socialization deck, the one that you present live, deck that talks to investors in terms of different types of investors, maybe friends, family, associates, unsophisticated ones, and then maybe if you're presenting a VC, you have a different investor, who knows? And then you'll have your technical deck, and it's great. Technical deck is heavy on the tech. That's an investor or someone doing due diligence that understands the technical side and needs to look at it. Great. Say you're doing blockchain or AI, and you've got some technical people who are going to evaluate. Sure, technical deck. Should you send financials? By rule of thumb, depends on what stage you are. Financials are always going to come up. Don't worry about it. They will always come up. But should you send financials in the beginning? No. Unless you've got clear financial data that you can show. And even that, financials aren't important because you can just show a traction graph. You can just say, I made money. If you've already made money and you've already had, let's say, 3, 6, 12 months of financials, then put them in the summary and just have a graph. Every month we've made this amount. Here's our profitability, etc. You're going to be done because the financials will come up during due diligence. If you don't have financials, you don't have any financial operating history, you are pre-revenue, then don't send your financials. And I talk about this a lot of times. Just record a video, but I'm going to repeat what I said in these other videos. Check out my other YouTube channel, EdGang99, if you want to hear about more about what I send to investors. But the reason I say, let me give you the brief summary, is we all expect your financials to be pie in the sky and for you not to be accurate at all. That's what investors think about. And investors automatically know financials are always going to go up and to the right because you can model it anyway. But how do you know? If you have no operating history, you've got nothing to base your financials on. We just gloss over and say, you're probably wrong on the first one. 99.9% of the time, you're wrong. I've never made a financial projection that I've been able to hit. I've either blown it away or I've been totally out to lunch because I experiment. Now, getting a financial model in place, that's very important. We've got financial advisors all over the place, and we've got people who help founders with their financials, not financial advisors, not invest your money, anything like that, but we've got people who are familiar with how to set up financials and to show that you understand what you're going to do. If you understand your unit economics, your customer acquisition costs, those are things you want to put in there, and you can put those in different slides. Financials, we're just going to ignore. That's really what it boils down to. So don't send the financials. Do you need the financials? Yes, you're going to need financials, or you're going to need to be able to share that you've done a financial model during due diligence. And they're going to ask you that because they need to crunch their own numbers, and they're going to ask, how much do you think it costs to get a customer? What's your lifetime value? And what's your churn going to be? And we're going to run all that number through our own metrics, our own rubrics is what investors do to determine if it's going to make sense. Case in point, I've had a founder who went and got a meeting with a prominent VC. They're doing $4 million a year. $4 million. Fantastic company. Kudos to this founder. The investor crunched the numbers and said, let's do some due diligence and let's take a look at whether we can make our money back. And they came back with a response saying, we can't see where we're going to 5 to 15x our money doing all the financials. And that's the reality of it. Even though the business was doing 4 million, the unit economics were off and they just couldn't see how they were going to get there. And that's the reality. That's why you need to know your financials. You need to know all the details, know your numbers inside out. So when investors poke holes in it and says, what's happening here? And you can say, well, if I make my projections or if we do this, I've got contingencies depending on my unit economics, manufacturing costs, cost of goods sold, everything. You understand that you are going to need it, but don't send it up front. I don't think you need to muddy the waters. Just get them the pitch deck and get them that front part so that they understand who you are, what you're going to do, how you're different, problem solution, market size, all that stuff. And then they'll ask you for your financial. Appreciate you asking that question. But let's examine some pitch decks. Before we do that, if you have a question and you are watching a recording, you're watching this live, type it in the Q&A box or type it in chat. As always, I am willing to stop and answer your question. Your questions are important. They actually give me lots of things to work on and talk about and stimulate me as far as keeping me on my feet. I appreciate all the great questions that founders ask. Let's jump into the section where I'm going to rapid fire bullet through some pitch decks. And let me start this off by saying, if you have a pitch deck that you would like reviewed, contact me and send it to advisor@startups.com. We got a process. We're going to make sure that we can use your pitch deck for review. If you're part of the Startups.com community, it's all included in your membership. Just send me your pitch deck. Come to one of our cohorts and say, I want a pitch deck review. I will definitely take a look at it. For those of you who send me your pitch decks for reviews and I use them on YouTube, kudos to you. Congratulations. I appreciate all your courage because getting your pitch deck reviewed out in public and going through the gauntlet, I am pretty kind when it comes to pitch decks. I'm not doing this to be mean. I am doing this because I'd rather see you fall flat on your face in front of the rest of us who are friendly to you and want to see you succeed, rather than fall on your face in front of investors. That you spend all this time getting in front of the investor and your pitch deck is not optimal pitch deck. There are high standards out there for pitch decks right now. You have to set yourself apart. It's very important. If you can't do that, then investors aren't going to believe that you're the type of founder who pays attention to detail, who has the moxie, the acumen, who has the resilience to go through the gauntlet of creating a pitch deck and refining it down, honing it down. That's kind of the crucible in where your character is refined and honed. And if you can't show the investor that you can take care of something like pitch deck, they're going to be thinking, well, then how are you going to be building a product, or how are you going to build a company that's going to require substantial amounts of leadership? I appreciate all of you who are sending your pitch deck, and I appreciate everybody. Leave a comment what you think about these pitch decks, and we can go from there. The first pitch deck I'm going to look at, let me just load it up and take a look at it. Once again, just letting everybody know, if you have questions, always ask. I'm going to be whipping through these pitch decks. Have a Q&A, put it in the question and answer box right now. Let me load up this next pitch deck to really take a look. Here we go. I want to make sure I do this in order. My apologies if you're waiting on a review. Bit of a backlog. Let's look at this one. Ship your AI app in minutes. Fastro. Here's my first fundamental problem with this cover slide. Is the tagline speaks to the customer rather than the investor. Let's just be pedantic about this. If I'm an investor and I don't need to ship an AI app in minutes, this means nothing to me. Absolutely nothing. Now, it could mean a lot to the customer. If you got a customer sitting there waiting there and they are going to need you to help ship their app, AI app, in minutes versus hours, great. But how do you fix this to speak to an investor? It's very simple. All you got to do is take this out and say a faster way to ship apps, or a platform that helps ship apps in 10% of the time, something along those lines. The platform to launch AI apps in shorter periods of time. Just something very straightforward. Be very, very straightforward. Don't be clever. Be completely clear. And don't talk to the customer. Talk to the investor. That is my advice. Right away. Let's continue moving along. The problem slide, which I'm expecting, is shipping apps is slow. Takes $150K to deploy, 4 weeks setup time, AI ops expertise required. Shipping AI apps is slow. All right. Now, I know nothing about this, and this is another potential issue that you're going to run into. And I know I've got some people in the audience right now. I've looked at your pitch decks, and if you assume or you take for granted your audience or the investor has the technical knowledge or the insider understanding of what you're doing, then you're going to miss out on a huge amount of opportunities. You're taking a massive risk. So I have never shipped an AI app before. I've shipped an app before, never shipped an AI app before. And I'm going to take it upon good faith that you know what you're talking about. And I don't think right away, even if with my limited knowledge, I don't think that it takes $150K just to ship an AI app. I'm confused of the terms, right? I'm confused. Is this actually a real thing? 4 week setup time, like how AI ops experience expertise required. This is a very amorphous problem statement, and it's typically what happens. First, you've got an opinion right at the top. Something is broken. This sucks. It's slow. It's bad. And then you've got some bullet points to try and prove it, and we're completely lost. Don't do that. Let's have one big sentence and explain to us who you're talking to, right? So say your customer is the development team to ship an AI app, and you say teams developing AI apps take 4 to 6 weeks extra time and spend an extra $150,000 to ship an app, something like that. You want to test that out. But you see how I combined everything in one sentence versus bullet points? Because when I'm looking at this and you give me all these bullet points, I ask myself, well, which one do you want me to focus on and which one are you trying to solve? Shipping apps is slow, $150K to deploy. That's 2 points right away. So now this time is slow. Expertise required. Well, wait a second. Is the $150K because you have no expertise? Is it slow because you have no expertise? Is the problem that most AI apps teams don't have the expertise to deploy AI apps? I don't know. The fact that I even have to ask these questions means this pitch deck is not clear as far as the problem statement. So remember, one sentence and put in who the user is, the problem that they have, size and the scope, severity of the problem if they don't solve the problem, and then you'll be fine. So this statement needs to be re-engineered. Next, let's look at the solution here. Build your product, not tooling. First of all, what if I'm an investor, I'm not building a product? Once again, you're going to see me get testy with this because you're talking to the investor, not the consumer. And this is talking to the customer. So you're pitching me. So if I'm building an AI app, great. I'm going to listen to this, but build your product, not tooling, automate infrastructure, eliminate dependency on AI apps, ops expertise, save weeks and massive costs. What does all that mean? If I'm building an AI app, maybe I know what that means, but what does that mean for the investor? So your problem and solution should be connected, and that's what you want to do. So let's, for example, let's pick something. Let's say shipping an AI app costs on average $150,000. Let's just say that, all right? Out of the millions of apps that will be shipped, on average, they will spend an extra $150,000 for a total of $15 billion or something like that. If cost is the problem, then the solution is going to be we can ship AI apps. We built a platform that ships AI apps for $15,000, right? 10x solution. I'm just making all this stuff up because I have no idea if this is actually what we have to do here. But if you're solving a problem, and I'm saying this over and over again, I'm a broken record. If you're solving a problem, that's something is a million people spend $10 billion a year because something is slow, expensive, and manual, then your solution better be we solve this problem. We do this for all those 10 million users in a way that's fast and it's automated and it costs 10% of what it would normally cost. You see how the problem and solution are connected? That's the reason you want to run this through the mom test and find out, will the average rich person's mom understand exactly what your solution is? And in this case, I didn't understand the solution. Build your product, not tooling. I don't get it. Doesn't make sense to me. So automate infrastructure, you're talking to the customer. So it should be our platform allows AI teams or AI apps team to deploy apps at less cost, faster, and without expertise, something like that. Let's move on. Tackling a 40 billion opportunity. Okay, 40 billion US AI server market. How do I know that's your market? If that's 40 billion that's spent on AI servers, why is that your market? Unless you're solving the problem to do with AI servers, I know AI compute is really expensive. Well, then tell me that AI compute is super expensive. Say for an AI app, the average compute is going to be $150,000. And then maybe this TAM works. And then you got 311 billion enterprise market of what? This is not your market. I'm going to tell you right now. You've taken a top-down analysis, and that's where founders get burnt. They go, and let me tell you, it's a little bit of laziness, and they go top down, and they say, based on our Gartner report or Pew Research, the cybersecurity industry is $3 trillion. Resource-constrained orgs, data scientists, and researchers, how is that a market? Learn to understand how to do a top-down analysis. Then you want to do a bottom-up analysis and talk about your users, and then maybe introduce value theory analysis. Some startups need to do this because it's not clear, cut, and dry. Let's figure it out. Let's do a bottom-up. How many AI apps are going to be deployed? Let's say you've got 1 million AI apps. And instead of $150,000, you are going to charge 10% of that. You're going to charge 1.5K. So that would mean your total market, addressable market, is a million times 1.5 thousand, which is $1.5 billion, right? Not $40 billion, not the AI server market, not the enterprise market. Learn how to do a proper market analysis and you'll be fine. And I've got videos on my channel, the EdK99 channel, on how to do a proper TAM, SAM, SOM, learn how to do that. Next, ship your AI app in 3 steps. This could be a how it works. AI app, you're talking to the customer, bad, talk to the investor. So you would say teams can now deploy their AI app in 3 steps. They can connect their AI model, choose their GPU, and click start. Now, I have no idea how this solves the problem of it being less costly. Is there infrastructure involved in this? So I appreciate how simple this is trying to be. Makes no sense. If I can't understand the journey, it's not going to help. Margin-based meter pricing and pay per seat. Margins 21% to 67% plus 50% possible from dedicated. So now we're talking about hardware. I don't understand. When did hardware come into this? Enterprise 4K a month for 6 users, usage costs. Single user 35 month for what, right? You're seeing what's happening here. Early revenue, 300% month over month growth. All right, if you're making 300% month over month growth, then you are blasting off your unicorn. I don't believe you. 300% month over month growth in what? Now, if you're telling me you went from 1 customer to 3 customers, okay, yeah, that's 300%. But now you're just embellishing, and founders are going to do this often, and investors flat out go, yeah, I don't really believe that this is actually happening here. All right, let's see. This is the perfect hosting solution for what we're building. USF research. Okay, so here we have hosting. Are you saying you host AI apps? Then tell me that's the problem. Hosting is the problem. You guys are mission critical for running my AI Copilot quickly and seamlessly. All right, so it's AI hosting. Maybe it's AI compute. Therefore, I go all the way back. The problem and solution doesn't make sense whatsoever. You saw how quickly I got lost in this? This is the issue. Let's move on here. More user channel sales. This would be a go-to-market strategy. Now for customers, expand user, support existing VPCs, one sales hire, raise seat. Looks more like a roadmap. How are you expanding user channels? You're not explaining to me how you're going to do this, right? How are you going to do all these things? And that's what an investor is going to look at. Just putting that there is not enough. 18 years, $1 billion in platforms. What does that mean? There's a lot of hyperbolic numbers here. You're telling me 1 billion, you better give the proof. 10 plus years engineering leadership experience. That's really good. Led development platform handling 481 million. Which one? Hey, give me a logo, okay? 8 plus years experience software engineer. Where? Led initiative core development of platform handling 800 million. Where? What? What does that $1 billion mean? 18 plus years experience. All right, now we're really pushing it. You are really pushing it in here. Raising $1 million to reach 70K MRR after 12 months. Okay, this is good because you said we're raising X to reach Y milestone in Z timeframe, right? Now, I do not like there's no reason for me to understand or believe that you're going to reach 70K MRR based on everything I'm saying. I have no idea what this business is. 70K MRR in hosting, on top of which, all this stuff here, like branding and design, like just get that out of there. Operations, 10%, sales, product development. Yeah, it's just not enough information. And all those big hyperbolic numbers, I don't believe you. So be careful. You better back it up. Thank you. All right. So that's how we are doing that pitch deck. So again, for those of you out there, if you got questions, let me know. I'm going to send this pitch deck review. Overall, here's what I'm going to say is it's not clear. It is not clear. You have not put in the work to try and communicate the message, go back to idea validation, define the problem, and communicate the problem in a way that investors understand. Talk to the investor, test the problem statement, and say, hey, does this make sense for the investor? And investor says, I don't know what this term means. I don't know how it works. Then flat out, you have to go back to the drawing board. Then make sure your solution matches it. And if you've already got traction, if you're already people, you're already hosting their apps, you better explain that. And here's the best part. If you already have a user, then ask them what the problem is that you're solving, right? Don't just make it up. If they just say, yeah, this company came in, I chose you because you can host my AI app for 10% less, then that's your problem. AI app hosting is expensive. Simple. We made it 10% cheaper. Done. Here's how we've done that. Done. Straightforward. Maybe you got special software to plug it all in and you don't have to do all the engineering requirements and all that good stuff. Who knows? Maybe you're launching AI apps on behalf of people. Maybe you've got one of those systems where people can low code launch AI apps. I don't know, but ask the users what the problem is. Don't just make stuff up and expect the investor to believe you when you're throwing out those big honking numbers. It's not going to be worth it. It's not going to be healthy. All right. So let me go in, but appreciate you sending your deck. Let's move into the next pitch deck. If you've got any questions, remember, feel free to ask them. This is the next one that I've got. I'm going to go through the review. Okay. Reimagine travel, Primo Air. Once again, reimagining travel. I do not care. We are going to transform the way people interact and we're going to create synergies and disrupt and revolutionize, blah, 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 blah. Who cares? Nobody cares. We're sick of it. We're tired of it. We're just going to gloss over. So don't shoot yourself in the foot and try and sell something right away. You're not reimagining travel, all right? You're not. What you're doing is you're going to provide a solution to an acute problem. The 1 billion plus disruption opportunity, hyperbolic statement, AI-powered subscription airline. That's probably the best statement that you're going to have in here is just put the title of your company, Primo Air, and just say AI-powered subscription airline. That's it. Get rid of all the rest of this stuff, and you'll be fine. So at least I know AI-powered, great, and it's a subscription airline, great. Straightforward. Again, you'd rather be clear than clever. Putting in kitschy marketing slogans and trying to be clever is not going to help you. That's what you want to do is just straightforward. Now, let's continue. Our vision. Don't start with a vision. By the way, nobody starts with a vision. I'm just going to gloss over this. I'm not going to read it even anyway. Where travel meets technology, AI power, personalization. Do not start with a vision. Start with a problem. Every founder has a vision, and all visions are mostly pie in the sky. Let's pause for a moment, and let's talk about vision. Should founders have a vision? 100% absolutely you should be visionary. There's a time and a place to communicate your vision. Not right away, not in the first slide of your pitch deck. Completely redundant. Pointless. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Cease and desist. If there's any place that you're going to put vision in, it's at the end of your pitch after it's so pristine and clear that everybody understands what you're doing. Problem, solution, market size, secret sauce, the team. They're like, wow, this is amazing. And then they're going to ask, what's your vision? If I solve this problem with you, how does the world change? And you can then say things like, we're going to democratize and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. You can also say, we're going to move into things like, this is the next layer that we're going to move into. This is the next market. Here's how we think we're going to change. Great. But don't do that up front. Get rid of your vision slide. This is my warning. Get rid of the vision slide. Moving along. The problem. All right. This is very difficult to read, but we're going to give it a shot. Travel is broken. Typical. No. Stop. Do not make those statements right in the beginning. Nothing is broken. That is your opinion. Mass market, inflexible, uninspiring. Those are all opinion-based statements. Investors do not understand, do not listen, do not pay attention to these types of statements. If we're saying that there's frustrating delays, lack of personalization, unpleasant travel experience, now you got 3 problems. Pick one. You say frustrating delays, lack of personalization, unpleasant travel. So let me brainstorm. If you say it to me, last year alone, 30,000 flights were delayed, causing X amount, like $1 billion in damages, insurance claims. I don't know what that looks like, right? Or if you say airlines are losing $30 million each every flight per year because they lack personalization, because X amount of customers want personalization. Now there's a problem with some facts to it. Unpleasant travel experience. Travel isn't fun anymore. Who says? Who says? Whose opinion is that? Right? It's just flat out. If you told me that air travel is declining, which I know it's not, because everyone says it's not fun anymore and they're choosing something else. Or let's say that another airline came in that was the fun airline, like Virgin Airlines, was supposed to be an entertainment company at 35,000 feet. I don't know how far that went. Well, then you can say, yeah, customers want fun on their airlines, and that's the problem we're solving. But right now, you're trying to solve so many problems, all right? Doesn't work. So this problem slide needs a lot of work. 1 billion disruption opportunity. Again, another hyperbolic statement. Subscription airline model, and it has an app. Okay. With travel demand expected to surpass pre-pandemic levels, people are craving a travel experience personalized, affordable, and delightful. Primo Air's app-based AI platform leverages AI ML to curate deals, recommend hidden gems to destinations. Okay, let's point this out here. This is where I get incredulous. So if you say that you are solving the problem that people want personalized, affordable, and delightful, I'm going to say, I don't believe you can solve that problem. I don't think you can solve that problem. How are you going to solve that problem compared to companies that have billions of dollars in revenue and who can eat your lunch, who can develop anything that you want? Now, let's look at this solution. Now, this is where you've totally led me down the wrong thing. Primo Air's app-based AI platform, leverage ML, curate deals. You're basically finding me flights. We become your travel partner, okay, and hidden gem destination. So it's pretty much, how do I find a good flight? And you can say something like, the problem is average flights cost this amount and have a low satisfaction rate. Our app can find you the flights for less than this type of cost because we know how to scan this database, this information. Once again, let me stop here for a second. If you are telling me that you've got an AI solution and it's going to make a big industry better in a way that the big industry goes, yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Let's do it. Let's just pop $30 million or $300 million in the solution. Then don't pursue that opportunity. That is not a good opportunity for you to pursue. For example, everyone says, what is the next AI of Adobe that's going to disrupt Adobe? You know who that's going to be? Adobe. They've got the money. They're already doing it. I use Adobe products, and I just wait for Adobe to launch something. Now, if Adobe's not doing something that another app using AI can do, and it just does that one thing really well, and Adobe's ignoring it, now you've got another huge conversation. If you're trying to tackle the airlines or tackle a big industry, and you've got AI companies, and again, I know the founders out there, I see you, you're solving problems that other AI companies with deep pockets are trying to solve. You need to make darn sure the investor understands that you are looking at an underserved, underrepresented opportunity that other investors and other big AI companies don't want to look at. They don't care about. They're not interested. For example, AI generated video, right? Type in, I want a scene of a little girl eating a candied apple on Halloween. Great. Poof, it happens. Great. There's a ton of money being put into that. We're training the models, etc. You're never going to compete with that. There are literally billions of dollars that have been pumped into doing that. Don't compete with that. But let's say you figure out a little small corner and we do something really well. We take out backgrounds. That's already been done. Or we add family members. That's already been done. We swap face that's already been done. You see all these little niches? Those are the opportunities that AI companies want to gobble up. So you want to be able to say, none of those companies are doing what we do. This example of an AI company, none of the big airlines are looking at these types of flights. Maybe that's what you want to do. None of these companies are actually doing chartered Uber-based flights based on private jets. And we've got AI that can help you see that and put it out on the market and sync with airports. Who knows? Where a big incumbent company goes, that's the dumbest idea in the world, or we're never going to do that because it'll wreck our business model, or we don't have the ability to invest in that. So how about you prove that out to us, and then we're going to buy you for $50 million, $100 million later on. That's what it possibly comes down to, right? And I've seen companies do that and have really big exits because they're doing something that the big companies don't do. But if the big companies go, that's a great idea, we're working on it, or that's a great idea, we should pump $30 million into that idea right now, don't do that idea, you are going to get blown out of the water unless you are such a genius and you figure out how to code it yourself. This to me sounds like it's not even possible. Now we get to this niche. After I said all that, focus on the underserved niche, busy professional experience seekers craving personalization, connections, hassle-free experience. All right, that's not an underserved niche. Okay, I'm just going to let you know. I'm in that niche. I'm a busy professional and I want an experience when I fly and I want a hassle-free travel experience. Nobody is catering to me with this type of solution, so I don't believe you, and that's the incredulous factor. Go back and figure out that niche where you can focus. Let's continue. The opportunity, subscription model. Now, this is where this is interesting to me. Subscription model for what? Primo Air captures $1 billion segment, the subscription model. Subscription to what? That's what I want to know. Like, if I just pay a flat rate of $500, I can get a ticket. I can just jump in to any airline that I want. How does that actually work, right? Now, I remember talking to the founder and I heard there might be planes that are being built, or we're looking with charter specific flights and planes. I don't know if this works because subscription, remember, if it's like the gym, I go and right now I'm paying what, $55 a month for my gym. And I've calculated out that if I go to the gym 2 times a week, I'm using up my membership. 3 times a week, I'm making money compared to if I walked in, right? And if I use the amenities and different things, it makes my gym membership worth it compared to the hassle. And I go to a popular gym, and let me digress for a moment. I go to a gym where people are absolutely ridiculous, okay? And this is not one of those muscle gyms like, you know, Gold's Gym or something like that, where everybody looks amazing, gorgeous. This gym is actually split up, and there's like old people part where I work out with like machines, and then there's track, there's free weights, and there's a young person and an even younger person, right? I've got young people sitting in the old person section, and they literally sit on the bloody machine. I can feel my blood pressure just boiling right now. And they sit on this thing, and then they do a set, and then they sit on their phone for another 10 minutes during the rest, and I'm ready to just completely walk up behind them. Now, here's the thing though. How do I justify going to the gym? Because I thought about going to another gym where it's close and it's like this 24-hour and going in obscure hours, and it costs just the same amount. I did a cost comparison, and I said if I use the pool, I use the track, I use all these amenities, and I go 3 times a week, it's a deal worth it for me, and I figure out ways around it. I listen to audiobooks, I walk around the track, I do some circuit training, all those things. Why do I tell this story? Because if you're selling a subscription, you need to justify in that person's mind how that subscription actually makes them money. For example, if I'm selling a subscription for Startups.com, here, the type of attention, I did the calculation on this and what I would charge for the type of attention that founders get to talk to other founders, the network, and all the courses and the resources, did all that, it's like $2,000 a month. And we charge $200 a month. That's a 10x return. Even a 5x return is good. So if you're telling me this is a subscription model and I'm going to be paying for an airline tickets to fly, personalized, delightful experience, if you said it's $1,000 a month, I better be getting $10,000 a month worth of value, and I don't see where that's happening right now. Maybe it's hidden here. Let's keep digging. Unique value proposition. Introducing our AI platform. All right, let's see. The intersection of AI travel community. Now you're adding community. You're just adding so much confusion right now. My brain is starting to really slow down because I'm not tracking with you. Personalized air travel. We use advanced algorithms to tailor recommendation deals. Other companies do that. Expedia does that. All right, I have an app that actually does that. ChatGPT can do that for me. Frictionless experience. Our AI-powered platform anticipates potential problems, delays. Okay, if that's the case, that's another problem to solve. Remember, last year we had so many breakdowns at the airport, and there were lots of like penalties and fines and people, and it was just crazy. Like flights being delayed, canceled, all that stuff. I sat beside some passengers. They were totally flustered because they were pulled off a flight, they were put back on the flight, they didn't know they're going to make it. You don't think that those big companies don't want to avoid the tens of millions of dollars of fines the $1 billion of fines that are plaguing the industry. What is the problem with that? You don't think that they've thought about using AI to try and solve that problem? You don't think that the airline out there that's publicly traded with billions of dollars on the cap table and literally billions of dollars in the war chest, you don't think that they want to figure that out? I'm going back to the whole thing where if a big company says, that's a great idea, we should do that, that'll solve a lot of problems for us, then unless you've got something so amazingly genius where you have figured something out that they can't, you can prove it, well, guess what? Those companies are going to snatch you up, or they're going to try and outcompete you. You better have patents on that thing right there. So I don't believe this is happening. Community inspiration. We foster travel community with exclusive events, insider tips, cultural insights. There's spelling error there. You want to watch that. This is what every other company is doing. All the other companies are trying to build community. Everybody. I could throw a rock and hit a dozen founders that have come through Startups.com trying to build community. So what's going on? So here's the membership perks. Subscription benefits, priority boarding, launching access. How are you going to get me priority boarding on a flight unless you've got your own fleet of planes? And we haven't talked about this yet. Our unfair advantage, why Primo wins. All right, your hyperbolic statement, don't believe you, but sure. Beyond first class, personalized travel experience, we're saying the same thing. AI platform personalized, saying the same thing. Benefits, importance. You haven't told me what is the one differentiator that sets you apart from all other airlines, websites, apps, etc. This is a half-baked idea. Big vision, kudos to the founder for having a big vision, but it's just not believable. From booking to beach, now we're going to the beach, don't have to say that. Waking up to personalized recommendations, breakfast spots, all that stuff. Now, this is just like if this is a travel co-pilot, once again, other companies are going to want to do that. The Primo Air experience. All right, so are you telling me you're going to build this? Is this what you're going to build? Then if you're going to build an airline with all these things, just say it. Just say it flat out. You're going to say, hey, building an airline, and I saw this question come in. We'll answer this in just a moment. If you're building an airline that's going to be better because it's AI driven, then say you're going to build an airline. Flat out. That's all you have to do. Don't dance around it. Just say airlines suck because it's got antiquated technology. The airlines, I know for a fact, airlines do not make money. The last airline that actually made money in a decent fashion that I was able to check was Southwest Airlines, and that's because CEO Herb Kelleher, okay? He's an amazing guy. If you're going to build an airline, just say it. Say these companies have a big problem. Airlines are not profitable because of this, this, and this. Our airline is going to be completely different, and we're going to be completely custom is really what it comes down to. Say that. But don't talk about all this other stuff and then bury the lead. Our fleet strategy, now we're getting into fleets, okay? 6 Airbus A220 leased, all right? So just say we're going to build an airline. We're going to lease 6 Airbuses, and we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Our progress, all right, so how far are you in building this airport? Goal, initial startup research. Goal to initiate first app, website design, conduct executive search, complete pitch, and launch fundraiser. And I just don't think it's going to happen. It's really what it comes down to is you have to go back to your initial research and really figure out, is your value proposition, is this something that we're going to build? Pilots guiding our journey. That's great. Okay, so we got pilots in here, and are you saying that you're going to fly all these things, right? Decade creating value, streamline operations, innovative solutions, logistics spectrum, the pilot's guide. This is where being clever is going to backfire you. I don't know if you're actually flying these things, but it looks like Case is a pilot, proven industry, 25 years. I still don't understand this business model and how it's going to work. Don't miss your flight, $1 billion opportunity, ground floor explosive opportunity, hyperbolic, $5 million seller growth. I don't believe you. Airlines cost a lot of extra money. Airlines are going to cost more than $5 million. If you told me I'm going to build the airline in the future and it's going to be AI powered, it's going to have all these whiz bangs and we got these planes, then I'm going to say, how much money are you raising? And if you said $5 million, I'm going to be like, I don't even know what $5 million gets you. That's just a drop in the bucket. Or you said, I need to raise $5 billion, all right? Or if you said, I need to raise $500 million, then I'm going to get a loan for $5 billion. Okay, now we're talking, right? Beyond that, this is just a software play. Don't get in an airline. Just create a better co-pilot, travel co-pilot. Create a better booking algorithm. Create an AI that scrubs all this stuff on the internet and stories and creates personalized recommendations. Solve a problem that you can solve. Don't try and solve a problem that you may care about, you have a vision for, but I don't see anything in this text saying that this founding team has thought it through and can actually solve the problem. And I might be wrong, and I hope you prove me wrong, but it's not in the deck, and that's a problem. We're going to leave it at that one. I appreciate this founder setting in the deck. Let's go to another question that's come in. In an investor deck, how early do I go into how product makes money? Is it after how it works? Yes, so it goes like this. You want to write this down, you take the notes, or I'll get you the information. Problem, solution, market size, how it works, and then business model. That's literally how you go through. So your how you make money should be the 5th slide, because you think about the journey that the investor takes. Let me do it this way. I'm going to actually come up with a handy dandy slide here just so that everybody can see this, and I'm going to share. All right, so this is my Q&A slide here like this, and here's how it should go. Let me just do this right here for the sake of posterity. So you got problem. That's the number 1. Why is that super important? Because the investor wants to know, is this a problem worth investing in? Is this a proper startup? Depending on the size of check that you want written, that's going to determine. So if you want a $2 million check and you're going for investment funds from a fund that has level of ROI, they've got LPs, they're going to need a problem that's got $1 billion behind it that can solve that, right? And then you got solutions. So do I understand the problem? Is it big enough in terms of, is it a worthy enough problem? Do I know which direction you're going? And is your solution unique? It can actually solve the problem in a novel, insightful way. And are you actually solving the problem? Can you solve the problem? Is it time to solve the problem, right? And then you go to market size. And this is where you prove that this is a $1 billion opportunity. If you're trying to get investors that need to invest in unicorns, that's what you want to do. And then next, you want to explain how it works. You just want to get into straightforward. This is, all the features. This is step-by-step. This is the Uber experience. Just click your app, reserve your driver. The driver says, I'm coming, picks you up, then you pay online. And then you want to do business model. This is how we make money. And this is exactly what you're going to charge. Right? We're charging a subscription model. It's going to be $100 per seat. That might be what you're charging. And then if we really want to get into it, then we can talk about the other minimum slides that I typically like to see after the business model. You want to figure out, okay, do I have a go-to-market strategy? And then after that, you want to figure out competition. And then after that, you want to say team. And then let's make this even smaller. Then after that, you want to put traction. And then you want to have your ask. And so with cover slide and contact, it's 12 slides. Right? That's your minimum pitch deck. So let's say I add in the cover slide right here. That's going to be 12 slides. That is the minimum pitch deck or your basic pitch deck. Some pitch decks are better, shorter. I've seen 6-slide decks that are awesome and usually has a lot of traction to it. It's just straightforward as far as introductory deck. But if you got these 12 slides, you're pretty much good to go with generally all the investors. If you're applying to Sequoia, Sequoia wants their decks a little different. If you're applying to some of these big companies, Y Combinator, they don't even want a pitch deck, right? You're going to be doing something different. But if you have a general grasp on all these slides, that's where you want to be. And like I said, this is where how it works, and as per the question of the business model, goes smack dab right in the middle, because after you explain how it works, this is how we're going to make money. We're going to start charging for what we just talked about how it works. So hopefully that answers your question. Thanks for sending that in there. All right, so that's all the time I have for. I'm going to try to get through another pitch deck. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Appreciate all of you who sent in the questions and the ability to answer them. Feel free to keep asking more questions. We'll collect them and we'll keep answering like that. If you want your pitch deck reviewed, you want to go through an experience like this, you don't have to. If you're a member of Startups.com, remember, you get pitch deck help just as part of your membership. But if you're not and you still want help, we want to help you. Send your pitch deck to advisor@startups.com or leave a comment on this video while you're here. Like, comment, subscribe. Totally appreciate that. Do the YouTube thing. We've got guests coming up. We've got great ideas and we've got great shows that we've got planned for you. Every Tuesday, we're doing pitch decks now. So the next pitch deck one, I work with Will Schroeder. We've got more guests that are going to be super exciting, fascinating to talk to, learn from their experience, ask questions for them. And then as we go along, we're just going to completely model and let us know what type of content that you would like to see. And we're here to help you. In the meantime, appreciate all the support. Hope you all have a wonderful week. Again, we are here every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. This has been Startups.com Live. I am Ed Kang. Everybody have an amazing week. We'll see you in the next show.